Ray Rogers, a member of the team that conducted the first scientific investigation, had always kept an open mind about the shroud. But as a man of science, he was furious that the shroud believers started questioning the carbon dating evidence.
I had given up on the shroud, and this was about the same time that the lunatic fringe were coming up with an infinite number of ways the date could be wrong, and this was just the last straw.
I got a call from Ray, and he goes, "What the hell is this? This is nonsense. I can prove these people wrong in 5 minutes." And I said, "Well, Ray, go for it." One of the things Ray had a problem with was the fact these weren't scientists, and he didn't take them very seriously.
I think he lumped us in with the lunatic fringe at that time, and probably for many times beyond that.
He was the gunfighter. He was one of those guys that if he didn't like what you were saying, he'd have pulled out his 6-shooter and fired off 6 before he had a chance to take a breath. He was not very tolerant, especially of people doing bad science.
By 2005, the scientific mainstream thought they'd laid the mystery of the Turin shroud to rest. It was a fake, dated between 1260 and 1390. The carbon dating process destroyed the sample, but all the labs involved in the 1988 test kept parts of their sample in reserve. Rogers was in a unique position to confirm if the linen shroud contained later cotton repairs.
Ray had in his possession, from 1978, the tape samples lifted from the surface of the shroud. But remember, those were not big fibers, those were fibrils taken from the surface. He also had some samples that were taken from the shroud by Professor Reyes, who took samples in 1973 from a corner that was immediately adjacent to the area taken for carbon dating.
But Ray Rogers was in a race against time. He was fighting a losing battle with cancer, and he knew his end was near. His old friend Barry Schwartz was determined that Rogers should have the chance to speak from beyond the grave.
I am Ray Rogers, Raymond N. Rogers, and I've been working on the shroud since 1977.
He filmed a detailed interview with Rogers so that the dying scientist could put on the record exactly what he found.
So I read their paper, and I thought, I've got the samples that can shoot that full of holes. So I got out the Ross samples, and I got out the shroud samples, and I went to work again.
A couple hours later, he calls me and he goes, "Boy," he says, "I can't believe it." He says, "They were right. There's cotton here." He says, "There's no cotton in the rest of the shroud, but there's cotton interwoven here. They must be right."
No one was more shocked than Rogers. His observations seemed to confirm Benford and Marino's theory. The original linen shroud contained additional cotton threads.